Here's a chilling thought. The world as we know it has crumbled. The systems we rely on, banks, governments, supply chains, have vanished like smoke in the wind. In their place, chaos, desperation, and a new set of rules for survival. When society collapses, the value of money evaporates, and the things we once took for granted become priceless. Forget your credit cards and cash in a world where survival is the only currency. The unexpected reigns supreme. Imagine bartering for your next meal, not with dollars but with something as mundane as a roll of duct tape or a bottle of aspirin. Picture a world where the smallest, most overlooked items hold the power to save your life or cost you everything. These aren't just hypothetical scenarios. History has shown us time and again that when the fabric of society unravels, the rules of value shift in ways we can't predict. In this article, we'll uncover the 9 unexpected items that become currency in a collapse. Each one tells a story of survival, ingenuity, and the terrifying fragility of modern life. Are you prepared to see the world through the eyes of desperation? Let's dive into the unsettling reality of what might come next. The vision tax. Why reading glasses will be worth gold. We often think of survival gear in terms of knives, fire starters, and water filters. But one of the most critical biological failures humans experience is the degradation of sight. If you cannot see clearly, you cannot defend yourself. You cannot repair delicate machinery, and you cannot perform first aid. The inevitable decline. The statistics are undeniable. Over 50% of adults over the age of 40 require some form of vision correction for close-up tasks. This percentage only climbs as we age. In a modern society, this is a minor inconvenience solved by a quick trip to the drugstore. In a post-collapse world, the loss of reading glasses is a functional disability. Imagine trying to stitch a wound, repair a circuit board, or read the small print on a medicine bottle with blurred vision. The inability to see details turns a skilled engineer or a seasoned doctor into a liability. This creates a massive demand for simple magnification. The supply unlike scavenged food or water which can be procured or purified, optical lenses cannot be manufactured without high-level industrial processes. The supply that exists the day the world stops is the only supply there will ever be. The timeline of value, months, 06. Value is low. Most people still have their current prescription or a spare pair of readers in a drawer. Months, 6, 18. The panic sets in. Glasses are fragile. They get sat on, scratched, or lost during the chaos of bugging out or manual labor. As personal supplies break, desperate individuals realize they can no longer function. Year 2 Poen, intact reading glasses become a rare artifact. A simple pair of Pine 2. Smart preppers treat eyewear as a trade commodity. You don't need to be an optometrist to stock value here. The strategy is volume and variety. Focus on stockpiling common magnifications like Pon 1 Pine. Crucially, protect this investment. Flimsy cardboard boxes won't survive a rugged environment. Store your trade stock in hard cases to prevent crushing. And a word of caution, never reveal the full extent of your optical stockpile. In a world where sight is survival, being the person with all the glasses makes you a target, not just a merchant. 2. The caffeine standard. Instant coffee is the new cash. Walk into any office or job site at 8 a.m. and you will see the fuel that runs the modern world, coffee. It is the most socially acceptable addiction on the planet. But when the supply chain breaks, that addiction doesn't disappear. It gets painful. The reality of withdrawal. Caffeine is a potent stimulant, and the withdrawal symptoms are debilitating for heavy users. We are talking about severe headaches, lethargy, irritability, and brain fog. In a survival situation where alertness and mood management are critical, a caffeine-deprived group is a dangerous group. Coffee offers a psychological boost that is almost as valuable as its physical effects. A hot cup of coffee provides a sense of normalcy, a momentary return to the old world. This comfort is priceless when reality is bleak. The scarcity curve. Coffee is a tropical crop. Unless you live in specific equatorial zones, there will be zero local production post-collapse. Once the grocery store shelves are stripped, the countdown begins. The timeline of value, months 03. Value is moderate. People are consuming what they have in their pantries. Months 3 to 9. The great headache begins. Pantries are empty. Withdrawal creates desperation. People who are exhausted and stressed will trade significant assets for the energy boost of caffeine. Month 9 Paul. Coffee transcends being a beverage. It becomes a luxury status symbol. It will be traded for heavy assets, livestock, tools, and perhaps even security services. Why instant win? While coffee beans are superior in taste, they are terrible for long-term currency storage. Oils in beans go rancid quickly. The smart money is on freeze-dried instant coffee. Instant coffee has a shelf life of 20 to 30 years if stored correctly. It is lightweight, compact, and requires no equipment to brew other than hot water. To maximize your investment, repackage store-bought jars into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers or keep them in airtight, moisture-proof containers. Moisture is the enemy. One leak can turn your currency into a brick of mold. When trading, never trade the whole jar. Trade by the scoop or the cup to maintain leverage and extend your supply. 3. The silent crisis. Feminine hygiene product. In the prepping community, which can often be male-dominated, this category is frequently overlooked. This is a massive strategic error. Approximately half the population has a biological need for these products every single month. Ignoring this reality means missing out on one of the most high-value trade items in existence. Biological necessity versus scarcity. Menstruation does not stop because the economy collapsed. Without modern sanitary products, women face significant challenges regarding hygiene, mobility, and health. The risk of infection rises dramatically without clean supplies, and the ability to work or travel is severely hampered. In a survival scenario, maintaining hygiene is not just about comfort, it is about preventing illness. The psychological toll of having to resort to makeshift rags, which require constant washing in water that may be scarce or precious, is immense. The supply vacuum. Disposable tampons and pads are single-use items. The consumption rate is high and constant. The timeline of value. Months 0-6. Demand is low as women utilize their bathroom stockpiles. Months 6-18. The crisis hits. Store shelves have been empty for a year. Women are forced to improvise with cloth, which is labor-intensive to clean and sanitize. The arrival of someone with a box of factory-sealed tampons changes the power dynamic of any trade negotiation. Year 2 Poons. These items become mythical. They command premium trades because they offer dignity and freedom of movement that makeshift solutions cannot. The investment strategy. If you are stockpiling for barter, buy in bulk. Look for variety packs that offer different absorbencies to appeal to a wider range of needs. Storage is straightforward but critical. Must be kept bone dry. Moisture or pests will ruin this inventory instantly. Menstrual cups are also a high-value item to consider. While they don't offer the repeat customer aspect of disposable products, a single cup can last for years. This makes it an incredibly valuable big-ticket trade item for a family looking to secure long-term hygiene for their female members. Consider setting up a subscription model with neighbors, guaranteeing a monthly supply of disposables in exchange for a recurring service, like security shifts or garden labor. 4. The infection monopoly. Antibiotics as life insurance. Before the discovery of penicillin, a simple scratch from a rose thorn could kill you. In a collapse scenario, we return to that era. Sanitation standards will plummet, sewage systems will fail, minor cuts, dental issues, and waterborne bacteria will become the leading causes of death. The difference between life and death. In a world without hospitals, antibiotics are the closest thing to magic. They are not a luxury, they are life insurance. When a family member is burning up with a fever from an infected cut, the person holding the amoxicillin holds the power of life and death. The desperation for antibiotics will arguably be higher than for food. You can survive weeks without food. Septicemia can kill you in days. Navigating the gray market. Prescription antibiotics will disappear from pharmacies within hours of a crisis. However, the prepper's secret has long been fish and veterinary antibiotics. Many antibiotics sold for fish, specifically fish mox, fish flex, are manufactured in the same facilities and have the same dosages and markings as human antibiotics. The timeline of value. Months 0-3. Moderate demand. People are still relying on leftover prescriptions in their medicine cabinets. Months 3-12. The death toll from simple infections rises. The reality of the new medical landscape sets in. Antibiotics become one of the most guarded and sought-after commodities. Year 2 Poans. A bottle of antibiotics is worth a plot of land, a horse, or a vehicle. They are nearly impossible to find. Responsibility and storage. This is a high-stakes trade item. You must understand what you are stocking. You need to know the difference between amoxicillin for general infections and ciprofloxacin for anthrax or urinary tract infections. Storage is key to retaining potency. Heat and humidity destroy antibiotics. They should be kept in a cool, dark, and dry environment. Refrigeration is ideal if you have off-grid power, but a cool root cellar works too. When trading, there is an ethical and practical obligation to provide a full course. Trading 2 pills is dangerous. It creates antibiotic-resistant bacteria and likely won't cure the patient. You trade the cure, a full 7 or 10-day cycle, or you don't trade at all. This ensures the product works and maintains the high value of your stock. 5. The morale multiplier. Spices and the taste of yesterday. Survival is often framed as a grim, joyless endeavor focused solely on calories and security. But this overlooks a critical component of human endurance: morale. In a world where every meal consists of bland, repetitive staples like rice, beans, or foraged greens, the psychological toll can be devastating. Despair is as deadly as any physical threat, and this is where the humble spice rack becomes a source of incredible power. Spices do more than just add flavor. They provide a link to the past, a taste of normalcy that can restore a person's will to keep fighting. The ability to turn a monotonous bowl of porridge into something reminiscent of a home-cooked meal is a psychological lifeline. Most of the spices we take for granted, such as black pepper, cinnamon, ginger, and garlic powder, are products of a global trade network. They are grown in specific climates, processed in industrial facilities, and shipped across continents. When that network shatters, local production for most regions is impossible. The existing supply in home pantries and grocery stores becomes finite. Initially, in the early months of a collapse, the demand for spices will be low as people consume what they already have. However, as stockpiles dwindle and the reality of a tasteless diet sets in, the value of flavor will skyrocket. Within a couple of years, these items will become rare luxuries. A small bag of peppercorns or a shaker of cinnamon could be traded for goods of significant tangible value, not because they provide calories, but because they provide hope. A population that is mentally resilient is one that can endure hardship, and spices will be the currency that buys that resilience. Smart stockpiling involves purchasing bulk spices from restaurant supply stores and storing them in airtight, dark containers to preserve their potency. Trading should be done in small, measured quantities, by the ounce or even the tablespoon, to maximize leverage and extend this valuable resource. 6. The stitch in time. Why sewing needles become priceless. In a world thrown back to basics, the concept of disposable vanishes. Every piece of clothing, every tarp, every backpack becomes a critical asset that must be maintained and repaired. Zippers will break, seams will tear, and fabrics will wear thin from hard labor. Without the ability to mend these items, they quickly become useless. This is where one of the most underappreciated tools of the pre-industrial world reclaims its throne. The sewing needle. A simple piece of sharpened steel, a needle is a product of advanced manufacturing that is impossible to replicate in a backyard forge. Once the existing supply is gone, there will be no more. They are small, easily lost, and prone to breaking or rusting, making them a rapidly depleting resource. The value of a sewing needle in a survival economy cannot be overstated. By the second year of a collapse, a single, functional needle could be a prized possession. The ability to repair a winter coat, patch a hole in a canvas shelter, or stitch a deep wound in an emergency makes the owner of a needle a person of immense practical importance. They hold the key to extending the life of essential gear. Imagine trading a single, high-quality needle for 10 pounds of grain, or a pack of heavy-duty needles for 50 pounds. It seems absurd now, but when your only pair of boots is falling apart in the middle of winter, that trade is a bargain. The demand will not be for the delicate needles used in embroidery, but for robust, heavy-duty needles capable of punching through leather, canvas, and thick denim. These are the tools that will keep a struggling community clothed and sheltered. To prepare, one should stockpile various sizes, with a focus on durability. Storing them in a dry container with a light coating of oil will prevent rust, preserving their value indefinitely. A well-maintained collection of needles is not just a repair kit, It is a treasure chest. 7. The chemical Swiss Army knife. The unrivaled utility of baking soda. While many survivalists focus on stockpiling items with a single obvious purpose, the most valuable volatiles in a collapse are often those with the widest range of applications. Among these, few can rival the sheer versatility of sodium bicarbonate, or simple baking soda. This unassuming white powder is a chemical powerhouse, a Swiss Army knife, for a stripped of modern conveniences. Its uses span hygiene, medicine, cleaning, food preparation, and even safety, making it an indispensable cornerstone of a functioning homestead. When the supply chains for soap, toothpaste, deodorant, household cleaners, and antacids are severed, baking soda steps in to fill all of those roles and more. This multi-purpose utility ensures that it will be in constant, unwavering demand. Consider the immediate applications in a grid-down scenario. For hygiene, a paste of baking soda and water becomes a functional toothpaste, preventing dental decay that could otherwise lead to life-threatening infection. As a deodorant, it neutralizes body odor, a small but significant boost to morale and social cohesion. In medicine, it can soothe insect bites, relieve heartburn, and be used in solutions to clean wounds. For sanitation, its abrasive and deodorizing properties make it an effective scouring agent for cleaning cooking pots and living spaces. Without relying on toxic chemicals, it can even be used to extinguish grease fires, a common hazard in off-grid kitchens. As store-bought goods disappear, a pound of baking soda will easily become worth more than its weight in food, perhaps trading for 10 or 20 pounds of grain. Its value is derived from its ability to solve dozens of everyday problems with a single, stable, and easily stored substance. Stockpiling is simple and affordable. Buying it in bulk and storing it in airtight containers to protect it from moisture ensures you have a high-demand trade good that will never lose its value. 8. The biological shield. Contraception as critical infrastructure. In a functioning society, pregnancy is generally a celebrated event, supported by hospitals, doctors, prenatal vitamins, and safe environments. In a post-collapse world, however, the equation changes drastically. Without modern medical care, pregnancy becomes a high-risk medical condition. The lack of sterile environments, surgical intervention for complications like C-sections, and adequate nutrition turns childbirth into a potentially life-threatening event for both mother and child. Consequently, the ability to prevent pregnancy becomes one of the most desperate needs in a survival scenario. This transforms birth control from a lifestyle convenience into a critical form of biological defense. The value of contraceptives, particularly birth control pills and emergency contraception like Plan B, will be incalculable. Women and their partners will be willing to trade significant resources to avoid the extreme vulnerability of pregnancy during a crisis. Imagine a scenario where resources are scarce, mobility is essential for survival, and medical help is non-existent. Adding an infant to that mix is a logistical nightmare that threatens the survival of the entire group. Therefore, a blister pack of birth control pills or a single dose of emergency contraception becomes a biological shield. It provides the security of knowing that a moment of intimacy won't result in a 9-month medical crisis. The market dynamics for this item will be intense. Unlike other medications that might be scavenged, the manufacturing of hormonal birth control is complex and strictly industrial. Once the pharmacy shelves are stripped, the supply is effectively capped. As time passes and existing supplies expire or are consumed, the remaining viable doses will command premium prices. A single dose of emergency contraception could easily trade for a week's worth of food or high-value tools. Smart preppers understand that while stockpiling diapers is useful, stockpiling the means to prevent the need for diapers is strategic genius. Focus on emergency contraception available over the counter, as it has a longer shelf life and doesn't require a daily regimen to be effective. Store these items in cool, dark conditions to maximize their potency, knowing you hold a key to safety that few others possess the foresight to secure. 9. The green gold. Tobacco seeds and the addiction economy. If history has taught us anything about human nature, it is that vices do not disappear during hard times. Often, they intensify. When the stress of survival weighs heavy, the desire for chemical relief becomes overwhelming. We discussed coffee earlier, but tobacco occupies a darker, more desperate corner of the addiction economy. Cigarettes are one of the first items to disappear from shelves during civil unrest, and unlike alcohol, which can be brewed with basic knowledge and ingredients, tobacco requires a specific agricultural product. When the pre-collapsed stockpiles of Marlboros and Camels turn to dust or are smoked down to the filters, the withdrawal will be fierce. This is where the true wealth lies, not in the cigarettes themselves, but in the seeds that create them. Tobacco seeds are the green gold of a long-term survival scenario. They represent a renewable source of one of the world's most addictive substances. While a carton of cigarettes is a finite resource that loses value with every pack smoked, a packet of heirloom tobacco seeds is a factory. It is the potential to corner a local market. In a community where smokers are jittery, angry, and desperate for a fix, the person who can grow and cure tobacco leaves holds incredible sway. They aren't just trading a commodity, they are feeding a compulsion. This dynamic creates a steady stream of customers willing to part with food, labor, or protection in exchange for a pouch of leaf. The strategic advantage of tobacco seeds lies in their size and potential yield. Tobacco seeds are microscopic, thousands can fit in a small vial, making them incredibly easy to hide and transport. Yet, a single successful crop can yield pounds of tradable product. Preppers looking to leverage this should focus specifically on heirloom varieties, which allow for seed saving year after year, ensuring the operation is sustainable. Hybrid seeds often don't reproduce true to type, making them a one-time use solution. By securing heirloom seeds now and storing them in cool, dry conditions, you are effectively banking a future enterprise. In a world stripped of comforts, the person who can provide a moment of relaxation will be the person who writes their own ticket. 10. The pest-proof barricade. The unseen value of rodent control. In the chaos following a collapse, most people will focus on threats they can see: looters, rival groups, and the desperate unprepared. Yet, one of the most devastating threats will be silent, relentless, and much smaller. Rodents, mice, and rats thrive in the decay of human civilization. With sanitation systems failing and garbage piling up, their populations will explode. These pests are not just a nuisance, they are a direct threat to survival. A single rat can chew through a bag of rice, contaminating an entire family's food supply with urine and feces. They spread diseases like hantavirus and leptospirosis. In a world with no doctors, they will chew through electrical wiring in off-grid power systems and destroy the fabric of shelters. The fight for survival is not just against other humans, it's a war against a tide of vermin for every precious calorie. This is where the immense value of rodent control emerges. Simple, effective tools like classic snap traps, bait blocks, and even steel wool will become worth their weight in gold. While a modern society views a mousetrap as a disposable 10-cent item, a post-collapse survivor will see it as a guard that works 24/7 to protect their most vital asset: food. Think of the economics. If a single trap prevents the loss of 20 pounds of stored grain, what is that trap worth? It's worth at least 20 pounds of grain, and likely more. Unlike poisons that can endanger pets or children and lose effectiveness over time, mechanical traps are reusable and reliable. Steel wool used to plug holes and prevent entry becomes an essential construction material for fortifying a pantry. The person who stockpiled 1,000 snap traps and a dozen rolls of steel wool isn't just a pest controller, they are the provider of food security. They can trade these items for anything, because everyone, sooner or later, will face a rodent problem that threatens their very existence. This is a currency that directly protects other forms of wealth, making it one of the most powerful and underestimated trade goods available. 11. The Knowledge Vault. Books and preserved information. When the digital world goes dark, humanity's collective knowledge will vanish in an instant. The internet, our external brain, will be gone. The ability to just Google it, how to purify water, how to identify an edible plant, how to set a broken bone, how to repair a small engine, will disappear. In this new darkness, information itself becomes the most valuable commodity. Physical books, manuals, and printed guides are no longer just passive entertainment. They become active tools for survival and rebuilding. An old-fashioned paper and ink encyclopedia is not a relic, it is a vault of civilization. A person with a well-curated library of practical knowledge holds the keys to solving countless problems that will stump and doom the unprepared. This knowledge is a force multiplier, turning basic supplies into effective solutions. The value here isn't in fiction or philosophy, but in tangible how-to information. Think of the specific needs, medical guides, like the physician's desk reference or a book on herbal remedies, could mean the difference between life and death. Engineering manuals, farming almanacs, and guides on food preservation, canning, drying, smoking, provide the foundational knowledge for re-establishing a stable life. A book on animal husbandry becomes priceless to someone who just traded for a pair of chickens and has no idea how to keep them alive. The person who has this library doesn't even need to trade the books themselves. They can trade the knowledge within them. They can become the community's consultant, charging a fee in food, fuel, or labor to answer a critical question or guide a project. Printing out vital online articles and laminating them now is a way to create durable, high-value currency for later. In a world of desperate ignorance, the one who stockpiled knowledge will have a seat at the head of any table. They can teach, guide, and lead, making their library the cornerstone of a new community. 12. The universal solvent, the enduring power of alcohol. Beyond its role as a social lubricant, or a simple drink, alcohol, specifically high-proof spirits, is one of the most versatile and valuable substances one can possess in a collapse. Its utility spans medicine, hygiene, fuel, and morale, making it a true multi-purpose asset that will be in constant demand. While beer and wine have their place, their low alcohol content and shorter shelf life make them poor long-term investments. The real currency will be found in distilled spirits like vodka, rum, or grain alcohol that are at least 80 proof, 40% alcohol by volume or higher. These liquids are stable, potent, and serve an incredible number of functions when modern products are no longer available. This versatility ensures that a bottle of cheap vodka will command a trading value far exceeding its pre-collapse price. First and foremost is its medical application. High-proof alcohol is an effective antiseptic for cleaning wounds, sterilizing medical instruments, and creating herbal tinctures. In a world where infection is a primary killer, the ability to disinfect a cut is not a small matter. It can also serve as a potent painkiller, offering relief when no other analgesics are available. Beyond medicine, it's a powerful cleaning agent and degreaser. It can be used as a solvent or even as a fuel source in specially designed lamps and stoves. And we cannot discount its most obvious use, morale. A small ration of alcohol can ease tension, build camaraderie, and provide a much-needed psychological release from the crushing stress of survival. Finally, it serves as an excellent barter item in and of itself. Many people will trade valuable goods for the simple comfort and escape that a drink provides. The ability to produce alcohol through distillation is a specialized skill that makes one a de facto economic powerhouse, but simply stockpiling it now is a straightforward way to secure a universally recognized and highly fungible form of currency for the future.